Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs up. Sometimes life doesn't whisper its lessons softly. It hits you hard, right when you least expect it. It breaks your heart, takes away what you love, and leaves you standing in the middle of nowhere, questioning everything. But sometimes, that's exactly where you're meant to begin again. This is the story of Arjun, a simple guy with big dreams. He had a stable job, a loving girlfriend, and a plan for the next 5 years of his life. Everything was perfect. Until one morning, a single phone call changed it all. Arjun, I'm sorry, we have to let you go. The words echoed like thunder. His hands trembled as he ended the call. His heart sank. Just like that, his world fell apart. The job he worked so hard for gone. The confidence he carried, shattered. The dreams he built vanished in seconds. That night, Arjun sat alone by his window, staring at the rain hitting the glass. His phone buzzed with messages, none that could fix his heart. He whispered to himself, why me? But there was no answer. Just silence, the kind that screams louder than any noise. Days passed. His savings began to shrink. His girlfriend, once his biggest comfort, started to drift away. Maybe it's better if we take a break, she said softly one evening. And that's when it truly hit him. Life wasn't falling apart. It had already fallen apart. He stopped meeting people. He stopped smiling. The fire in his eyes dimmed. Everything he thought he had was gone. Then one night he stepped outside. The city lights blurred through his tears. On the sidewalk, an old man dropped his grocery bag. Without thinking, Arjun rushed to help. Thank you, son, the man said with a kind smile. You look tired, like someone who's been carrying too much for too long. Arjun forced a small smile. I guess life's been teaching me some lessons. The old man chuckled softly. Ah, life, the best teacher, but it never gives the lessons before the test. Arjun looked up, confused. What do you mean? The man replied, You see, son, when life takes everything away, it's not punishing you. It's preparing you. Sometimes it has to empty your hands so you can hold what's truly meant for you. Those words stayed with him long after the old man walked away. That night, he couldn't sleep. The man's words kept echoing in his mind. Empty your hands so you can hold what's truly meant for you. For the first time in months, he opened his old notebook, the one where he used to write ideas for a startup he always dreamed of building. Pages filled with sketches, notes, half-formed plans. He smiled faintly. Maybe this was the time. Maybe losing everything wasn't the end. It was a reset. Slowly, he started working again. Not for a salary, not for validation, but for himself. He built something small, something that connected people in need. A simple app that helped neighbors help each other. He called it Near Kind. At first, no one noticed. Just a few users. Then a few more. Within months, it started to grow. People began using it to share food, help the elderly, deliver medicines. Arjun watched in silence as something he built from his pain became a reason for others to smile. One evening, while working late, he received a notification. A woman needed help getting to the hospital. Without thinking, he grabbed his keys and went himself. When he reached, a few other people had already shown up, people who came because of his app. Together, they helped her. And as the ambulance drove away, Arjun looked up at the night sky and whispered, Thank you. Not to anyone in particular, just to life. Because he finally understood. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every sleepless night had led him here. To this moment, to this purpose. Months later, he found himself standing on a stage, speaking to a small group about Near Kind. His voice was calm, steady. I thought life was cruel when it took everything from me, he said. But now I realize it was giving me something better. A chance to rebuild, to find meaning, to become who I was meant to be. The audience was silent. Some smiled. Some wiped away tears. He ended with one final line. Sometimes life doesn't give you what you want because it's busy preparing you for what you deserve. As he walked off the stage, he spotted the old man sitting in the front row, smiling proudly. Arjun's eyes filled with tears. He bowed slightly. The man nodded back, as if to say, You learned the lesson. Later that night, Arjun stood on his rooftop, looking at the city lights below. He remembered the days he felt lost, the nights he thought it was over. And now, standing under the same sky, he smiled. Life had broken him, but it also built him again. Stronger, kinder, wiser. He finally understood what that old man meant. When life takes everything from you, don't curse it. Don't run from it. Just wait, because sometimes it breaks you only to rebuild you into someone better, someone stronger, someone real. Life will test you in ways you can't imagine. It will hurt, confuse, and challenge you. But every fall, every failure, every loss carries a message. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. So when life teaches you the hardest lessons in the most unexpected ways, don't close your heart. Keep it open. Because that's where, after months of hard work, Arjun's app Nearkind had become a small miracle. People used it every day to share food, help neighbors, deliver medicines, and offer rides to hospitals. Arjun was finally smiling again. His life, once broken, now had meaning. Every time his phone buzzed with a new thank you message, he felt alive. But life never lets you stay comfortable for too long. It always finds new ways to test you, especially when you think you figured it out. One evening, while Arjun was finishing a meeting, his phone rang. The caller ID said City Hospital. His chest tightened. "Hello," he said quickly. A voice replied, "Sir, your mother has been brought in. She collapsed at home. Please come immediately." His world froze. The sound of his heartbeat was louder than the city around him. Without another word, he ran. The elevator felt slower than time itself. The streets blurred as he sped through traffic. When he reached the hospital, his younger sister was already there, crying. Doctor said it's her heart," she whispered. Arjun's knees almost gave way. He pressed his palms together and whispered, "Please God, not her." Hours passed like years. Finally, the doctor came out and said, "She's stable now, but her condition is serious. She'll need surgery soon." Arjun walked into the room. His mother was lying there, pale but breathing, her hand weakly resting on the blanket. "Ma," he whispered, taking her hand. She opened her eyes slightly and smiled. "You came," she said softly. "Of course came," he said, fighting back tears. "Should have been here more. Was too busy too far." She smiled again. "You were helping others, Beta. That's what raised you to do." His heart broke a little more hearing those words. He sat by her side all night, watching her sleep, realizing how precious every breath truly was. In the morning, he posted a small message on Nearkind asking if anyone could donate blood for his mother's surgery. Within an hour, dozens of replies came. By noon, more than 50 people had shown up at the hospital. Strangers, people he had never met, people who had once been helped by Nearkind. A nurse smiled at him and said, "Your app saved your own mother today." Arjun couldn't speak. He just looked at the donors through the glass window. Young, old, rich, poor, all united by kindness. He wiped his tears and whispered, "Thank you." For the first time, he understood that life always returns what you give. Maybe not when you expect it, but exactly when you need it most. Days passed. His mother got better. Arjun felt a peace he hadn't felt in years. But as always, life had another lesson waiting. One morning, he woke up to hundreds of messages, complaints, angry emails, confused users. Nearkind had crashed. A major server bug had taken everything offline. Donations, requests, data, all gone. Arjun froze. All his hard work, his dream, the thing that gave him meaning, it was falling apart again. He called his small tech team, tried to stay calm, but inside he was breaking. "We can fix this," they said, "but it might take days." "Days," he whispered. "People depend on this every hour." He barely slept. Coffee cups piled on his desk. His hands shook as he typed line after line of code. He pushed himself to the limit, frustrated, tired, scared. Social media filled with hate. Fake app. They can't even keep it running. Another failure. Each comment felt like a knife. He felt the same fear he did when he lost his job years ago. The same darkness knocking again. At one point, exhausted and hopeless, he walked to his balcony and stared at the city lights. The same city that once gave him purpose now felt like it was judging him. Why, life? Why again, he said aloud. How many times do you want to break me? And in that silence, a thought whispered back in his mind, the words of the old man he once met. When life takes something away, it's not punishing you. It's preparing you. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He realized this wasn't the end, just another test. The next morning, he gathered his team. We're not giving up, he said firmly. This isn't a company. It's a community. We owe them honesty. He went live on Nearkind's page. No PR, no fancy talk, just truth. Friends, he said, voice trembling, our servers crashed. We lost data. We're rebuilding from scratch. I know some of you are angry, and you have every right to be. But please know we're not quitting. We'll make this stronger, safer, better. Because this app isn't mine. It's yours. His voice cracked on the last word, but that truth reached people's hearts. The comments started changing, from anger to support. We're with you. Don't give up. Take your time, Arjun. Volunteers offered help. Coders joined for free. Within days, Nearkind was not only back online, it was upgraded, stronger, faster, more secure. And when it relaunched, something beautiful happened. 10 times more people joined. What looked like destruction became a rebirth. Arjun realized every breakdown is just another form of breakthrough. That night, he went to the hospital rooftop where his mother was now recovering. She was standing there, watching the stars. You did it, Beta, she said softly. No, Ma, he smiled, we did it. She nodded, her eyes shining with pride. You see, life tested you again. And you didn't run this time. He smiled. I remember what you said, that kindness always finds its way back. She looked up at the stars and said, and so does strength. They stood there in silence. The city lights below, the stars above, both glowing for those who refused to give up. Arjun looked at the sky and whispered, thank you, life, for every fall that taught me how to rise. The wind brushed past him gently, like life's quiet applause. Moral: when life breaks you again and again, it's not cruelty, it's training. Every heartbreak builds your strength. Every fall teaches you balance. Every loss brings you closer to truth. The hardest lessons always come in disguise, but they make you who you were meant to be. Some people binge-watch horror movies like Scream and A Nightmare on Elm Street whenever October rolls around. Others turn to cute classics like Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, or It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Then there are those who can't get enough of all the sitcom specials that play on heavy rotation this time of year. If you're part of this group, you're probably just as obsessed with Modern Family's Halloween episodes as I am. The show boasts a whopping 7 episodes about spooky season. That's one for every night of Halloween, or just the right amount for one epic evening of marathon viewing. The writers made the wise choice to highlight Claire and Phil in each episode, and it paid off every single time. Claire's natural intensity was perfectly suited to her love of spooky season, and Phil's gentle nature and whimsy made him his wife's perfect foil. Other characters always had standout moments, but the Dunphys owned Halloween. So, in honor of Claire Dunphy's favorite time of year, here are all 7 Modern Family Halloween episodes, ranked from spooky good to downright scream-worthy. Modern Family's sophomore Halloween episode finds most of the family split apart, which unfortunately winds up being the episode's downfall. Jay and Gloria are both having identity crises. Claire's been blackballed from her favorite holiday, and Cam's dreams of showing off his brand new bod are dashed when he ends up in a bull costume for his and Mitchell's party. In one of his most iconic realtor moves, Phil is hosting an open house all evening in hopes of luring in bored trick-or-treating chaperones, but he winds up torturing a bunch of teens with real estate stats instead. The solid, but not quite spectacular, episode does manage to pull itself, and some of the family, together in the end though. Claire and the kids sneak into Phil's listing, scaring the business cards off him and simultaneously warming our hearts. What's scarier than Halloween? Reaching the age where you're expected not to care about it anymore. At least, that's how Phil and Claire feel in one of the saddest Modern Family Halloween episodes, second only, of course, to the one featuring a literal death in the family. The kids are all off doing completely non-Halloween related stuff. Phil fails to Trojan horse a pumpkin, and even Claire's office isn't interested in the horde of zombies she hired to help celebrate. Meanwhile, a delayed kitchen renovation is haunting Cam and Mitchell, who sadly skipped the costumes this year. In fact, the only Dunphy-Pritchett family members we get to see dress up are Claire in what is presumably Gloria's hand-me-down Wonder Woman outfit, and Precious Joe as a fed-up Zeus. All in all, there's not as much Halloween fun afoot in this episode as I would have liked. As all the Modern Family kids grew up, I'll bet it was a struggle to concoct new Halloween stories. Luckily, the Great Pumpkin does end up saving the day and makes this episode one that's still worth watching, even without the great costumes. With Claire busy in her career, Phil steps up to take over Halloween, or tries at least. But when his Candyland-esque spin on the holiday provokes mocking for the Dunphys' problematic new neighbors, Claire can't help but take control. Cam is also putting in the hours at work, and with a copy of Where's Waldo, and it's costing him major points with Lily. Jay decides he needs his hair back. The kids? Mostly missing, except for Lily, ironically. Despite being one of the least festive Halloween episodes Modern Family's done, everyone's holiday-adjacent antics manage to be equally fun, even though the family is split apart for the majority of it. Plus, Phil's Awesome Land is truly a treat within itself. To Nibbles the stuffed bunny, though, you never stood a chance against Claire. Dressed in the best costume lineup Modern Family has ever accomplished, the Dunphy-Pritchett family must grapple with the death of Mitchell and Claire's mom, Dee Dee. To paint you a picture, Mitchell and Cam are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Gloria and Jay are Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio, Claire and Phil are a spider and her trap fly, and the kids are a hodgepodge of half-assed young adult costumes that fall apart by the end of the grief-stricken evening. Most notably, Alex is a convincing RBG for roughly one scene. Now that we've covered what everyone's wearing, with Dee Dee's death looming large over the holiday, everyone pairs off to grieve in their own special ways. Phil and Cam make a remarkable couple of concerned significant others, traipsing through West Hollywood traffic in an attempt to bring home some nostalgic ice cream for their spouses. Mitch and Claire fight over their starkly different relationships to their mother. Jay mourns his missing sandwich while Gloria battles the ghost of Dee Dee in the form of dozens of tiny 3D printed sculptures of her. We love a 2018 mall culture moment. Haley, Alex, and Luke learn that none of them know what to do in the face of tragedy, and Lily gets busy haunting Gloria and stealing hoagies. You'll most definitely laugh, and if you have a heart, you'll probably also cry. Such is the power of a near-perfect Modern Family episode. In this biblical whodunit episode, Claire and Mitchell are locked in a messy prank war that catches Cam in the process, sending the Batman on a candy-fueled rampage through the neighborhood. Back at the Dunphy house, Luke is throwing a total flop of a party because Earl Chambers' granddaughter has better sushi, but Haley and Claire are on the job as an influencer and a buzzkill, respectively. Phil creates a high school hottie alter ego to hype up his son and keep the kids off his newly resodded yard, while Jay, dressed as Jesus, gets into a brawl with the thieving Earl Chambers, who is dressed as the devil, much to Gloria's lament. Each absurd plot point of this story eventually comes together to make one of Modern Family's best Halloween episodes in history, complete with some of its funniest costume choices. Manny, your Dalton Trumbo bathtub deserved better. The very first Modern Family Halloween episode pretty much nailed it right off the bat. That was a spooky pun. Claire turns out to be, unsurprisingly, a fiend for Halloween. Meanwhile, Phil is discovering a brand new fear: divorce. Alex is too smart for spooky season. Haley is shuffling through every stereotypical teen girl costume in what can only be described as a personal attack against my own basic black cat costume era. And Luke is the Dr. Frankenstein to Manny's monster. This episode also gives us Mitchell's secret Spider-Man suit moment and Gloria's own, much more positive spin on the phrase dog-eat-dog world. I personally find myself comparing every haunted house I've entered to the Dunphys' drama-filled Halloween extravaganza and found it lacking, at least in the crying head of Cam department. Of course, the only Halloween episode that could possibly top Modern Family's first is its last. Aptly titled The Last Halloween, the show's final spooktacular, bow sends Jay and Manny off to hunt down a candy bar that's serving as a surrogate for Joe, while Gloria worries she's finally old enough to look like Jay's wife. Cam and Mitchell head to the West Hollywood Parade for a child-free night that leaves them questioning their fatherhood skills, and Luke and Alex both get majorly dumped. But as always with Modern Family's Halloween specials, Phil and Claire are the real stars of the evening. After failing year after year to scare Claire, Phil finally terrifies her with a long con so epic, I can't bear to spoil any of it for you. But just know it will probably renew your faith in lasting love and also make you want to step up your game this Halloween. Assuaging my fear about my favorite sitcom falling victim to the curse of one too many seasons, Modern Family managed to end its streak of scary great Halloween episodes on a high note.